Hi, I've had a couple of people ask me to make this video on how I control the foxes using fishing bite alarms, which is a lot easier than staying awake looking with a lamp all the time, either around your pheasant pens, chicken farms, places like that. The last couple of nights I've had a spy camera set up in the garden, and we've caught a fox cub on my vegetable patch, which is just behind me over there. And I'm hoping that tonight we can set up using some pretty basic stuff. Doesn't cost a great deal, and fingers crossed we may be able to get a fox and show you how it all works. Okay, well, there's two setups that I use. Very straightforward. You'll just understand that. I should go through you what I use. I have normal everyday bank stick, just the cheap nasty ones made of aluminium. You buy them from a boot fair or a fish tackle shop. I then have the butt section of a rod with a reel containing line of around 12, 15 pounds, something like that. This is an old carp reel I had laying about. And for those who wouldn't want to use their best rods, you can just use a spool of reel, but you'll need to put it in a bucket, because if you don't put it in a bucket, if a fox takes it, you'll end up with the line all up the field. It'll just dart all over the place. The bucket just stops it bouncing around. The bite alarms I used to have these, which are some Sundridge ones. I bought 3 of these with a sounder box from the local tackle shop. It cost me £25. Absolutely brilliant. About 10 years ago. What I like about these is you can turn the volume right the way down. But after 10 years of quite hard use, they're as good as gone now. So I've bought just a normal set, nothing expensive. I've just bought a set of these. The only trouble is the sound doesn't go right down. I've not found a problem with it yet, but if it does, you can put a little bit of cotton wool in there or something and just tape it over, and that'll just take the sound right off, so there's no sound whatsoever. But the most important thing is you've got a sounder box that's got quite a bit of range on it. So the wired ones will be okay if you're doing this from your van, or if you want to set a tent up or a bivvy and do it like that. But if you're actually doing it like I am tonight, you will need something that hasn't got that. And obviously your bait. I've just got a rabbit that was cut in half. I've used this a few times now. This will be its last outing, and that's what I'll just use. And I'll show you how we'd set that up then. Okay, right, we'll set this up. It's just like a normal setting up with like a fishing rod. Just quickly show you. I've got a butt rest here, which I use for this, but you can stand it on a V-stick or even on the floor if you wanted to. The reel I've got has got a bait runner on it, but I mean, I have used them before where you just slacken off the clutch as long as the line runs free, but has a little bit of drag. Just so that it does put the fox off a little bit. Very rarely they will run far, but occasionally you'll get one that will pick it up and run. In that case, I've had to actually tie the bait to a stake or something with a long piece of string, so that it can only run 10 yards before the string comes to a stop. But then you've got to be really quick off the mark, because they don't tend to hang around very much like this. So that goes on just the same as normal. I then just tie it to the bait. That's it. Just tie it onto the bait like so. And I'm just going to put the bait out on the garden here. It's quite a close one. turn my bite alarm on. As you can see, the volume doesn't turn right off on these, but it doesn't seem to make a lot of difference. Just check it, and then I have the sounder box will be indoors, which I will actually have somebody indoors just checking that it does reach okay and I don't set it up out of reach. That's all it is. And we'll go over to the field and do the second one, and then we'll be ready for the night. Okay, so we'll set this one up slightly differently, because I'm not going to use a rod like that butt section of a rod, because maybe you haven't got one. You don't necessarily need one. Ground here is rock hard. All I've got is my bait and just a spool of line. Doesn't have to be on a fishing spool, it can be on anything. So I'll just tie that off to the rabbit. And if you look, the house is just the other side of this hedgerow. I'll be shooting from the upstairs window. Now, all I do is walk the rabbit out. You can actually take these out as far as you like, 100 yards, 150 yards, you can go as far as you like with these, like fishing. The further out you go, the more it takes. The fox has to move it more and more for the bite alarm to register, from what I've found. But I usually, only a few yards out there, don't have to be that far from it. But like I say, I can go as far as I like. Once I got out there, I just looked back round to make sure I've got a clear line of sight from where I'll be shooting. There's no branches or anything in the way. And I'll just drop the spool into the bucket. Like I said before, the bucket is purely to stop the spool running all over the place. And just set it up. Turn it on. Test it. Once again, had somebody in the house before telling me that the sounder box where I have it can hear this bite alarm absolutely fine. So we've got both setups, one on the garden here, one out in the field on the front of the house. I'll be shooting from the upstairs windows, bathroom window and my bedroom window. So I'll have the windows open, ready to go, and I can quickly get from one room to the other. The sounder box will be in the living room with me while I go there, and then I'll take it to the bedroom when I decide to turn it in for the night. I'm hoping that I can do a film if I do get a run, but this camera doesn't work very well in the dark, so it may not happen. To see how it goes. I have set this up a little bit earlier than I would normally. I'd normally do it just at last light, because the buzzards will find it, so will the kites. They can be a little bit of a pain. I have had people say to me about the badgers taking the bait. I've shot lots of foxes doing this, lots of foxes. I've never had a badger take a bait yet, and we do have an awful lot of badgers on the estate here, but that's about it. The rifle I'm using tonight will be my 1.7 HMR with a I don't know what the proper name for it, ND3 Sub-Zero Laser Genetics, whatever, on it. I do like the NS200, but this scope is bigger than the two tubes that you get with it, so it doesn't fit this rifle. But this is quite adequate. I have got a normal scope lamp that fits on the top. I've used that. I've used a 2250, quite often. I mean, you can use the headlights of your vans. Like I say, I'm sat up in the house tonight, but I could well be sat in the van. I could set a camp up, a bivvy or a tent or something up in the wood where you can't get the van. You just adapt it to how you want it. I mean, I've shot foxes with the headlights of the van on a couple of 3 occasions where I've been working. A lady nearby has got chickens in quite a small area. Just set the thing up, sit in my van, fall asleep in the van. Alarm goes off, flick the lights on. That's it. It's as simple as that. So hopefully we'll get something tonight. I feel fairly confident. I know he's been around for the last few nights. So fingers crossed, and if we can film it we will. If not, I shall see you in the morning. So 1:30 this morning, the alarm went off showing a fox had took the bait out in the field. Set up and took the shots. I knew he was dead there and then, otherwise I'd have went straight out to make sure there was no suffering. So let's go out and see if we can find him. So there's the setup. We set up last night. Looks like quite a bit of line's gone off of that spool. It was out there that we'd set the rabbit. It's on them wheel marks. I don't see them on the camera. There's a set of wheel marks out there. That's the window where the shot was taken. Good girl. That's the cub. Looks remarkably like the one on the vegetable patch that we caught on trap cam. And the vegetable patch is just the other side of that hedgerow there. So it's not far. So that's probably the way he was heading. There's the bait. Still on the line, and I think that's the 3rd fox that bit of rabbit's head. So that's it for that bit of rabbit. I'm going to get myself a new one. So, I mean, that's how I do it. There's plenty of room for improvements. I'm sure that each of you can take your own ideas and go along your own ways, but it certainly works for me. And no more sleepless nights waiting around pheasant pens, chicken farms, or whatever. You can do it from the comfort of your own bed, your own settee, or van, or bivvy, or whatever you want to set up and sit there waiting for them. So, if you like the video, hope you've learned something. Please like and share it. I hope to put others up on different ideas on what I do, so we can all try and learn something new and expand and bring some of these youngsters on in some of the true ways of the English countryside. Thanks very much for watching, and hope you watch me again soon.